we're sitting here at the front of the camper looking towards the rear. And if you can imagine, you're driving down the road and you're that drop of water that's traveling down here, that sheet of water, while you're doing 55 miles an hour, 60 miles an hour in a torrential rainstorm, and you're racing down towards this refrigerator vent. And what happens is, here we've sealed, heat welded the TPO 3 inches to the roof, so nothing's getting under there. And for good measure, we put this seal in here as well. So your only option as a water drop is to come over this and make your way under here. Now you want to get up here because you want to make a leak, because that's what all water wants to do, is ruin your life and make leaks. But you can't, because you come under here and then you have this flap, and this flap is preventing you from getting up on top. So you either have to go right or left and then depart the back of the camper. What would have happened in a normal application is this would have been the top of the roof. So all that gushing water would have made its way down here, crashed against here, went up inside, just beat the hell out of the front end here, and eventually this would fail, water would seep in. But you don't have that option now as a water drop. All you can do is come up against here, make your way to the rear. So I want to meet that water drop that can figure out how to get through this sealant, heat weld, flap. I'd like to meet that water drop, because if this thing leaks now, it's an act of God. So we are inside the camper and we're looking at the EC unit. And one thing that occurred was, by raising the AC unit up, we left ourselves with a gap. So I had to come in here with foil sticky tape. It's used in HVAC industry to cover that gap, which was probably about that wide, because this foam piece used to be adhered to the bottom of the air conditioner, which is outside, but it couldn't reach. So I filled that gap using this stuff. Then I also noticed, and I figured I'd film it, this is the attic space, the space between the roof and the ceiling, and you could see insulation, and these were not covered. And this is the return air, so air gets sucked into here, gets cooled, and then comes out your vents. But it was, instead of sucking air from the living space, it was sucking air as well as the living space from the very hot roof area. So I went ahead and I covered this one up, and I'm going to cover this one up so that the only place it gets air from is the inside of the camper. And that would prevent any problems, maybe make it work a little bit better. While we had the AC out, we went ahead and serviced it. We cleaned all the fins, straightened out any crooked fins that are there for cooling, and this thing should blow nice and cold. So here I am taking down the scaffolding. Once the scaffolding is all down, I think I'm going to keep these pieces that are upright together and repurpose it for project number, I can't remember how many projects I have going, but that bike is going to get painted, and I'm thinking of repurposing these as a paint booth, because I don't have one, and I've already spent the money on the wood, so I probably could get some sheet plastic and make a little room out of it and spray up the gas tank and the fenders and all that stuff. Another project for another time.